U.S. economic and financial system, we believe, is on the brink. And even though that's not widely understood today, we think that there will be events that happen in the next 6 to 12 to 18 months that will definitely help people understand things are not good. I want to talk for a few minutes then about some negative fundamentals which we think at this point cannot and should not be ignored. The first one of those fundamentals is there is cheap overproduction. The world is massively overproducing everything at viciously competitive prices. China, India, and Asia have become forces for cheap overproduction, and I can tell you that China can produce every single manufactured product in the world that every person in the world consumes, just China. So there's massive overcapacity for everything worldwide, and that's one of those fundamentals that's not going to change, and it's going to affect everything. Over 2 billion low-wage workers have entered the global workforce, China, India, Asia, Eastern Europe, etc., and they work for wages 75 to 95% less than Americans, and that's not going to change. U.S. factories must now move overseas to compete. American businesses can't produce products as cheap as China, India, Asia, etc., so to survive, they must move their manufacturing facilities out of the country, permanently eliminating millions or tens of thousands of U.S. jobs. A few years ago, I think it was over a decade ago, you saw Chrysler shut down a factory and move it to Mexico. A few years later, they disassembled that factory, put it on a boat or several boats, and sent it over and reopened it in China. Even Mexico can't compete with China. Okay? So these are realities that we're going to face the rest of our lives. Okay? The U.S. middle class is being eliminated as millions of formerly well-paid white and blue-collar workers are forced to low-paying jobs, such as a greeter at Walmart or McDonald's or Starbucks or what have you. Business profits are being permanently squeezed as costs, raw materials, shipping, medical labor rise while prices fall due to global price competition and the Internet. The Internet actually suppresses prices and keeps you from having pricing power because everybody can shop you all over the world, and so the Internet has suppressed a lot of prices. Only massive U.S. consumer consumption or overconsumption has kept the U.S. and global economy afloat in recent years. But U.S. consumers are now maxed out with debt and things and are seeing declining incomes. How many more things can you buy? How many more television sets do you need in your house? Maybe you got 3 or 4. I bet you most of you have at least 3. Okay? How many DVD players do you need? How many new gadgets and gadgets? How many new cars? I mean, at what point do you say, my gosh, I'm drowning in all my stuff? Well, that's the average American today. They're drowning in their stuff, and most of them have gone massively into debt in order to accumulate all that stuff, and you finally get to the point where they just don't need any more stuff. They're maxed out on debt, and they're maxed out on things. Okay? To keep U.S. consumers borrowing and spending, the Fed has created 2 huge inflationary bubbles over the last 10 or 12 years in stocks and in real estate. Both bubbles are now very vulnerable to a massive implosion or collapse. We saw the first bubble, the stock bubble, which the Fed helped create, starting about the middle 1990s. It was the high-tech bubble, the dot-com bubble, and so forth. And we saw what happened when it finally, and if you got my newsletter, we begged people to get out of the stock market. We begged them to get out. And starting March of 2000, going through about October of 2002, the stock market dropped $8 trillion in value. $8 trillion. A lot of investors lost 50% of their 401ks. And I got to tell you,